At the very outset, I would like to offer my pranams at the lotus feet of the Holy Trio, Sri Guru Maharaj, Holy Mother, and Swamiji Maharaj. Then I go to offer my respectful pranams at the holy feet of our Global Vice President, Senior Vice President, Swami Gautamanandaji Maharaj, who is also the Adhyaksha of legendary Ramakrishna Math Chennai. My pranams to other elders like Nityasthanandaji on the stage and other elderly monks, senior monks among the audience. My love and best wishes to my brother Swami Sukadevanandaji, who is also on the stage and just addressed you. My love and best compliments, best wishes for all the brother monks and to my beloved brahmacharyas. My very respectful regards to the devotees present here this morning on this very, very important occasion. We are at a conference, as it were. Conference is Math Chennai, Ramakrishna Math Chennai is observing 3 occasions simultaneously. One is certainly 125 years of his sojourn, of his journey in Chennai as an entity called Ramakrishna Math. Second, goes without mention that we are through 125 years of Ramakrishna Mission. And third, triumphal return of Swami Vivekananda to his motherland. So all these 3 go to constitute a conference, and we are here. We are here to carry at least a handful of sacred water to our home when we leave this place and start for home. For us to remember, to ruminate, to enjoy, to rejuvenate ourselves throughout the year. Now, as you have been told by the announcer that I am supposed to speak on Sri Ramakrishna's eternal call. Now, eternal call, when we speak of, we are immediately reminded of eternal query. We look at the Upanishads, we find Kasminno Bhagavo Vigyate Sarvamidang Vigyatam Bhavati iti. What is that phenomenon? By knowing which I can know everything, I get everything. This is the eternal query, eternal riddle. Again we find in 19th century, in the second half of 19th century, young boy studying in college, English professor is teaching William Wordsworth, and the professor says that, well, Wordsworth had experience of samadhi, ecstasy. And this young man stands up and asks the professor, sir, can I ask you a question? The professor gives permission. Well, this boy says, this young man says, is there even now anyone under the sun today who has had this beautiful experience of beatitude, of ecstasy, of samadhi? And professor immediately shot back saying that yes, there is one in the vicinity of Calcutta, in a place called Dakshineshwar. She is the worshipper of Mother Kali there. I am told he doesn't have much of education, but then he has had this beautiful experience, and in an intenser degree than Wordsworth had. This man with eternal query immediately rushes to Dakshineshwar, and this eternal query is placed before that man. What was that query? What were that queries? First thing, is there God? Is there anything called God? Second, when the answer was positive, the second query was, have you seen God? Answer is positive again. Then, can God be seen by me? Not only he told in affirmative, he started dragging him. Come with me. I can show you God. I can show you God much more tangibly than I can see you. And that is the eternal query. And there is always a struggle. There is always, I will not call it a rift, but a kind of struggle between the two. The eternal query and the eternal answer. Now, a few days back, I had the opportunity of going through a wonderful book. I am sure some of you must have seen it. Some of you must have gone through this book. Erich Fromm. Erich Fromm is one of the most famous Western psychologists in America today. Fromm writes a book, wonderful book. The name of that book is Escape from Freedom. And almost simultaneously, Arnold Toynbee's son, Philip Toynbee, he writes an essay in American Times. Wonderful. What do they say? They speak almost in the same rhythm, same voice, with same words. What do they say? They say that people want expedition, they love it. They want to go to the Himalayas, they want to go and scale the Mount Everest, they want to go to Helsinki in Finland, they want to carry out expedition in all walks of life. Even they are ready to go to the moon, they are ready to go to the poles, South Pole and North Pole and so on. But in one place, people are immensely, hopelessly pessimistic and scared. And what is this place all about? Where the individual person is hopelessly pessimistic and scared. He says, beautifully, Philip Toynbee says, that this is to respond to invitation to soul. When the question of responding to invitation to soul comes, then man is defeated. Not only defeated, he wants to fly away from there as early as possible. And almost in the same way, Erich Fromm also writes in his book, Escape from Freedom. I will ask all of you, those who can afford to have this book and go through it. So naturally, there is a fright. Fright not in one or two persons. Fright in the entire clan whom we say men, whom we call men. Majority of people, overwhelmingly majority, they are ready to undertake any expedition, but they fight shy of what you call responding to invitation to soul. Standing before him, who am I and how am I, is a question they are afraid of. And there was a man who was equally afraid of. He even thought of ending his life, putting an end to his life. For some reasons or other, it didn't materialize. It was per accident. It was an accident that he was at Dakshineshwar. He came to Dakshineshwar. He thought that in the evening he will put an end to his life. And naturally, when he has come to Dakshineshwar, he thought that when I am here, why not meeting that sadhu whose name is Ramakrishna Paramahamsa? He went to his room. He was standing in front of the room, and then when he was standing in front of the room, one maid servant came out of his room. Her name is Brinda, the maid servant, And we find Brinda, the maid servant, once again earlier with Sri Krishna. When she is out, just out of his door, out of his room, this man, M, you all have heard his name, Professor Mahendranath Gupta. He asked this maid servant, Brinda the maid servant, well, is the sadhu we have heard of still in the room? Well, yes, he is sitting. But is he doing his spiritual exercises now? Well, spiritual exercises, what do you mean by that? No, counting the rosary? Counting rosary. We have never seen him doing like this. But, whenever he once enters into flight of ecstasy, this sadhu must be reading a lot. The second question from them, the Brinda the maid servant, Brinda says, reading. I have never seen him reading any book. But, well, all the scriptures are in his throat, in his tongue. Can I meet him? Yes, you can. Door is open from inside. We have just shut the door, but not from inside. It's not bolted from inside. You can easily push through and get in front of him. But him, you know, he was the headmaster of the famous and legendary Vidyasagar's school. Vidyasagar was a protagonist of Renaissance those days. And he was brother-in-law of famous Keshav Chandra Sen. He was the head of the department for 5 subjects. Those days in Ripon College in Kolkata. He was the true representative of Bengal intelligentsia those days. And naturally, his instincts of a gentleman in Kolkata those days, instinct of an intellectual, prevented and restricted him from getting inside the room unless he is given permission. So time and again he was asking Brinda, can I go? Will you ask him? Well, no permission is necessary. He is sitting there. His room is never closed from inside. People do come to his room whenever they like to, and you also can go. So M, we find in the very first visit, M does namaste with folded hands to Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna looks at him from head to feet and feet to head. And then Sri Ramakrishna tells him, which surprises him. Sri Ramakrishna tells him, to commit suicide is a great sacrilege. M was perturbed, upset. What it is? Even a creature, small worm, doesn't know of it. I have never divulged it, not even to his wife he divulged. And how come this man knows it? And then he was taking leave. Sri Ramakrishna wanted to go. And then while going, Sri Ramakrishna told a beautiful initiation Sri Ramakrishna gave to M on the day, and through Sri Ramakrishna he gave that initiation, that Mahamantra, to people who came and returned, the people who were there around at the time, and the people like you and me who will be coming in future. What was that? In Bengali he told, Abar Esho, come again. What does it mean? It means you have a traveler in the spiritual path, fresh, you have started your spiritual journey. Just now you have started. While going in the spiritual path, you will be falling down. Just a child, when he starts, walking, then he falls down time and again. But never get scared. Come. Even if you are off the track, you remember me and be on the track again. And that is the mantra Sri Ramakrishna gave to him. Come again means come to this place time and again. That's how it starts. And then, of course, aim comes. As you know, that Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna begins with Aim's visit to Sri Ramakrishna. Aim comes again, second visit, third visit. Third and fourth visit is very, very important. Third visit, what do we find? We find Aim has come. And Sri Ramakrishna is asking him, well, have you got married? And he, with his head cast down, he says, yes. And Sri Ramakrishna cries aloud. And Ramlal Dada, Sri Ramakrishna's nephew, elder brother's son, he was there. And he says, Ramlal, look, this man has got married. And he's thinking, Aim is thinking within himself, he is getting married, such a big sacrilege. And then the second question was still more dangerous. He says, have you got children? He told, yes, one son. And then again he cried aloud and told, well, Ramlal, look, he has had son also. As if everything is closed. There's absolutely no light at the end of the tunnel. Then Sri Ramakrishna asked him, well, how is your wife? I can know. If I see your wife, I can know and I can tell whether she is Avidyastri or Vidyastri. But what do you say about your wife? Is she knowledgeable? Is she educated? Aim says she is a good person. She is a good person. But she is illiterate. And the process of Khandana Bhava Bandhana, the process of Khandana Bhava Bandhana starts there. Sri Ramakrishna lashes at him. Aim, who is proud of his intellectual attainment, who is proud of the fact that he is brother-in-law of Keshav Chandra Sen, who is proud of the fact that he is the headmaster of the school established by legendary Vidyasagar. He is proud of the fact that he is one of those intellectuals who are given the first seat, the front seat in an assembly of intelligentsia. He is considered to be by few the crest jewel of the Calcutta intelligentsia then. And Aim had that pride. And Sri Ramakrishna could understand it. He is hammering, he is lashing, he is crushing his ego. He is crushing his ego. You go to church, everybody must have seen church at least from outside. I and cross. The message is very clear and loud. I, you cross it and you are Jesus. And that is what is there in every religion. Sri Ramakrishna also says, all the problems will be sorted out if we can cut this rascal called I. Ahamidang mamaidang iti. That is the rascal. So now what happens? Aim himself writes, he says, my ego in the process has been totally powdered. Well, powder also is an element and a substance which you cannot ignore or overlook. So, Aim's raw ego has been promoted to the level of ripe ego. But his sense of dignity, sense of self-respect has not been surrendered at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna as yet. That's why he says, my ego has been powdered in the process. And then what do we say? Before taking leave of Sri Ramakrishna, Aim on behalf of all of you who are sitting here, and maybe for us also, he asks a beautiful question to Sri Ramakrishna. He asked a beautiful question to Sri Ramakrishna. What is that question? Question is, what about the householders? What about the householders? How can they get to know you? know the Supreme Brahman, realize God. And Sri Ramakrishna gives a very, very, very simple prescription. What does he say? He says that look, first thing is association with holy men. And when we speak of association with holy men, you have to come to a sadhu and discuss holy aspects of our life, even it is mundane life. The sacred has become secular with Sri Ramakrishna. So, without calling it secular, we can divinize it with a new approach, and that is what Sri Ramakrishna calls, Vivekananda calls later on practical Vedanta. So that is association with holy men. Now, when you read Bhagavad Gita, when you read the other scriptures sitting at room, you can have association with holy ideas. Then the question is, should we not come to Math then? Should we not come to the sadhu akras then, to mix with the sadhu, talk with the sadhu? Yes, you should. Why? Because you see, whatever you learn from the scriptures, that gets, the battery gets energized, charged, when you hear it from the mouth of a sadhu. So that's what it is. And then Sri Ramakrishna goes into solitude. And solitude, he speaks of the solitude that we usually understand to be. But still, Madhavanandaji Maharaj used to say that solitude is not so much for the solitude that we usually understand to be. Solitude is here. You must have solitude here. And then, the third aspect Sri Ramakrishna prescribes for all of us. What is that? A very important aspect. Vishwas, faith, conviction. What is conviction? So, Madhavanandaji Maharaj used to tell a story, and that came in the Reader Digest some 75 years back from now. Now this story, I feel Madhavanandaji used to love that story, like that story. He used to, yes, he told it in many places, in many contexts. The story is very simple. A ship is anchored, the ship is de-anchored and starts off for its destination. And then as soon as the ship de-anchors it, starts going on, the deck boy slips and falls from the deck. And then when the deck boy falls from the deck, there is a dichotomy among the crew members. One section of crew members, they feel that captain should be informed. Another section of crew members feel that there is no point in informing the captain and bothering him right at this stage. When we reach the destination, we will inform him. So by the time this dichotomy was resolved, it has crossed 60 nautical miles. And when the captain was told about this boy, unlike their expectations, anticipation, captain told the co-pilot, take the ship to the original point where from we started off. It had to be done. People felt that the captain has lost his mental equilibrium because the captain used to love this boy very much. Anyway, then when the ship is approaching the originating point, captain cries aloud, look there, look yonder, there is something blackish, maybe the hair of the boy, and the boy is struggling to survive. And throw the life-saving device. The life-saving device was thrown. The boy, with the help of life-saving device, came back to the ship and he fell into swoon. The captain was standing anxiously all alone. When the boy came back to senses, the captain stealthily went and softly whispered in his ear, "My boy, why did you struggle to survive? With the help of a small piece of wood, how long could you survive in this Atlantic Ocean?" Then this boy is telling, slowly, he is telling, "I struggled because I knew my captain would come to rescue me, to save me." And in our life, I need not say, you all know you are devotees of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is the captain, and we must have that faith that, well, whatever it may be, but if we hold on to the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, then Ramakrishna Mission will go ahead, Ramakrishna Math will surge ahead, and people at least for next 1500 years, to be precise 1375 years from now, will remember Vivekananda. And naturally, this is one which is the clarion call of Sri Ramakrishna, that you must cultivate these practices, practice of being in association with holy men, being in solitude. Solitude, not in the literal sense of the term, here you must have solitude. And then third is faith, unfaltering, unshaking faith, and faith at the captain of our life, Ramakrishna-Vivekananda. And then we go over to the next visit. Now M has fallen in love with Sri Ramakrishna. And the next Sunday he comes, because he was a master of school, as you know. His school used to be closed only on Sundays. He came, and then it is in the afternoon. Sri Ramakrishna was in rapt attention. He was in Bhavamukha. Bhavamukha means a point where ecstasy and the ordinary plane of consciousness, in between, a point is called Bhavamukha. So he was in Bhavamukha. And Narendra Nath was singing. M came and silently went to the corner of the room. And he was sitting there with rapt attention. He was listening to the song. And he was thinking within himself that except Guru Maharaj, Sri Ramakrishna, I have never heard such melodious and sweet voice anywhere else in the world. Song was over. Narendra went out of the room. And then Sri Ramakrishna was sitting there. And as usual, M came. But before that, one small incident happened. Sri Ramakrishna was cracking jokes with his young disciples at the cost of M. He was telling, see, he is Gambhiratma, means very grave, because his age is slightly more. M was 27 years old at the time. So anyway, then when Narendranath and others have left the room, and M stood in front of Sri Ramakrishna and told, is there will be any more song today? And Sri Ramakrishna thought a while and told, no, there won't be. And then M was taking leave of Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna told, you do one thing. There will be lot of songs, a lot of joy there in Balarambo's house. You can come there and then, well, you can enjoy, you can have the bliss of this music. Naren will be there, Rakhal will be there, and all will be there. M accepted the invitation, accepted the call. He told, well, I will do it. And then he was taking leave of Sri Ramakrishna. He was going back to his home at Calcutta. He used to stay in North Calcutta. Kathamrita Bhavan, many of you must be knowing it. Now when he reached the main gate, Pradhan Patak, main gate, then there is a wonderful conflict in M. M's personality is split into three. First personality is the personality of scholar, a learned man, an intellectual, a true representative of intelligentsia and aristocracy of Bengal. And that entity is telling him, well, Professor, you have promised to Sri Ramakrishna that you will go there, but Do you know Balaram Basu is a jamindar? He is a landlord, very rich man. There is sentry in his gate, and that sentry never knows you because he has never seen you. You have never seen to Balaram Babu's house. If the sentry doesn't allow you in, if the sentry doesn't permit you to go inside, then will you not feel hurt, humiliated? And Professor Gupta, will you be able to withstand your professor entity will allow you to withstand that humiliation, possible humiliation? That is the first content of M's personality. He is asking this to M. And the second content of M's personality is that M who has surrendered everything at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is the pole star of his life. Sri Ramakrishna is the emperor of his heart. Sri Ramakrishna is the Ishta. Ramakrishna is the sadhana and saddha, goal and the means both. Ramakrishna is the all and end all of his life. And that entity of M, the great devotee, that entity is suggesting to M, well, you have promised to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is the all and end all of your life. Sri Ramakrishna is your guru, your acharya, he is the Ishta, he is everything for you. He is the emperor of your heart, he is the pole star of your life. And you have promised to him that you would go to Balaram Babu's house, but now you are vacillating. If you do not go, don't you think that you will be incurring a great sacrilege and thereby rendering yourself not being able even to go to hell? So these two entities are in conflict. First entity is the entity of M, the first learned man, the representative, true representative of Calcutta intelligentsia then. And the second aspect of his personality is the M who has surrendered everything at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna without a single question. So these two are at loggerheads, and at the same time M is strained, constrained. M thinks, yes, I can't dismiss him, Professor Sam's spokesman. I can't dismiss devotee M spokesman either. What to do? Then the third content of his personality, which we know in neutral content of personality. In your car, most of you have car nowadays, and you know there is a neutral gear. So neutral content of his personality, which is the objective aspect of Sri Ramakrishna M's personality. What it is doing? It is wonderfully managing that conflict of management of conflict. Wonderfully done. This neutral personality is telling him, why are you feeling so distressed? You are such a learned man. You are such a great devotee. And why are you in distress with this small matter? You have just come to the main gate of Dakshineshwar temple. You have just come to the main gate of Dakshineshwar temple. Not far from Dakshineshwar temple. Go back. Go back and meet him. And you submit yourself at his feet and you ask him for the solution. M thought, yes, this is a very good suggestion. And M goes back. And when he goes back, Sri Ramakrishna is no more in his room. After getting out of his room, he was walking to and fro in the courtyard of Dakshineshwar. And by the time M reaches there, he finds that Sri Ramakrishna is walking to and fro in a Nath Mandir of Dakshineshwar temple. Light is very scarce. It's something like a twilight. Some light, some darkness. And Sri Ramakrishna is walking. And M writes in Kathamrita, in Gospel, you will find it. M writes that he is alone. He is moving like a lion. Lion must be. Lion is the vehicle of the Divine Mother. And who else was better a lion than Sri Ramakrishna? And seeing him, Sri Ramakrishna stops and tells, why are you back again? What's the reason behind? And him submits everything, every bit of it at his feet. And Sri Ramakrishna gives again a second clarion call, a second eternal call to the humanity, to me, to people who will come tomorrow, the people who have gone back yesterday, and the people going by the streets, be it in metropolis or in the villages, be it in America or South Africa, be it Nigeria or Soviet Russia. What is that second call Sri Ramakrishna told, Sri Ramakrishna extended to him and through him to all of us? He told a beautiful thing which have never been told by God himself in the annals of spiritual history of the world till today. What did he say? He said, you do one thing. You mention my name to the gatekeeper, sentry. Somebody will come and take you to me. If we extend our inward eye, if we contemplate on this particular happy sentence told by God, then if we meditate on this, can we stretch our imagination when we feel that if we remember his name, not only the gate of Balaram Babu will be opened, the gate of heaven will be uncorked, the gate of liberation will be inaugurated. And that is what it is, the divine call. And when we stand at the confluence of this great occasion, confluence of Ramakrishna Mission, confluence 125 years of Ramakrishna Mission, 125 years of Ramakrishna Math Chennai, and also the triumphal return 125 thereof of Swami Vivekananda. We feel time has come when we stand before them, stand in this confluence and take as much sacred water as we can do in our purse and go back home. Ruminate on this, contemplate on this, live in this, live with this, and our life will be successful, which is why Holy Mother told, look, when you are in distress, when there is darkness all around, you know it for certain, you have a mother, not a stepmother, not a fosterly mother, a real mother. Remember me. Sri Ramakrishna says, remember me. Mother says, remember me. Swamiji also says the same thing. Those who will listen to me know it for certain. If they go to the claws, to the jaws of Yama, to hell, I will go to the hell and snatch him away back from hell. And that is how we are in. We are under shelter, big, huge banyan tree, which will be catering to the mankind at least for 1375 years now. And it's a proud moment for anyone associated with this great institution, namely Ramakrishna Mission and Ramakrishna Math, that we have been given shelter at feet of the Holy Trio by their infinite grace. With these few words, I must thank the manager of this month for so kindly having remembered me and having given this excellent opportunity to be with you this beautiful morning come afternoon. Thank you so much. I will give special thanks to all of you. Special thanks to all of you, because Guru Maharaj told empty stomach is no good for religion. You are in empty stomach and you did bear with me for such a long time. Thank you so very much.